Next, I'd like to introduce our next presenter, Dr. Robert Ring, former Chief Scientific Officer for Autism Speaks. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Ring to the stage.
Good evening, everyone, and it's been a fantastic evening for sure. This is my first time at the meeting, and I'm just blown away. Before I begin, I'd just like to take an opportunity to just reiterate how important it is for us to take this step back and not just acknowledge, but celebrate all the great work that's been being done and acknowledged in the recipients tonight. These are not just celebrations of achievement, they become vital models for how it should be done, examples to be followed. And at this point in time, we're going to turn to a celebration of collaboration as it extends to advocacy. We see the power of collaboration in science in the previous award, but advocacy benefits from the same dynamics available in collaboration. As Chief Science Officer at Autism Speaks, I saw this firsthand. We had a team of advocates working literally globally. Bangladesh in 1 week, Tanzania the next week, Albania the next. And the one common thread in all of these stories of trying to build awareness for autism, build awareness for all of the disorders that fall underneath that umbrella, many of them represented in this rare disease community, was really a story of a mom or a dad activated by a diagnosis, trying desperately to react and deal with the lack of resources and opportunity and put that activation in motion. If it begins with one, it very quickly turns into two, then three, and then exponentially it takes off. And we're celebrating this throughout the meeting today, but we're going to draw our attention to one specific example of how this has been done. And the example is Rare Kansas City, who will be receiving the Champions of Hope Award for collaborations in advocacy. And this really was the brainchild of Kelly Ranallo, whose advocacy journey began with her daughter's diagnosis with Turner syndrome. And she became a very powerful advocate for her own daughter and working in that space, but quickly realized in her community that there were others in the rare disease world around her who didn't have those experiences, hadn't quite covered that ground. It needed help with that. And that opportunity was filled with her own collaborative outreach. She soon connected with folks at Children's Mercy in Kansas City, the Genome Center, Stowers Institute, and a number of other patient advocates who made up a larger community. They all agreed to come together, begin working together on a common goal. This brought in another recipient tonight, Scott Weir and his team at KU, also Tara Zahner, who was a cystic fibrosis advocate. These folks brought a really clear vision, and it became the genesis for what's known as Rare Kansas City or Rare KC. You'll hear more about this. It's really a group of key stakeholders that were working together to improve the lives of families around the Kansas City area. And it really became a model. It is a model that should be upheld and used elsewhere. Over the course of 18 months, working to define a variety of mission and goal, they were able to host their first symposium at the Kauffman Foundation for World Rare Disease Day, sold out crowd, and they're really right now in the process of looking to build a general rare disease centers of excellence, which I think will be and has the power to be a model for how you can do it elsewhere in the country, expandable to even larger therapeutic areas as well. So what I'd like to do now is invite our recipients for this award, Kelly Ranallo, Tara Zahner, and Scott Weir, to come up to the stage. And on behalf of Global Genes, would like to thank you for your work and invite you to receive your award.
Thank you.
there are multiple ones.
Yes, no, over there.
Thank you. Wow. I mean, what a true honor to be standing up here on stage again as we talk about all the amazing advocates and parents and leaders in research and medical providers that have taken time out of their lives and really made a decision to say, we're going to make a difference, right? For the ones that have the smaller voice, maybe not such the big voice all the time. Although I hope as we talk about tonight and as we accept our award in collaboration, I think we all agree sitting in this room that really to make the difference and to make the change that we're all hoping for in this room, because as Nicole always reminds me, it is about the hope, that it really is going to take a united force to be able to do that. So I feel truly honored to be standing here on behalf of the amazing people behind the Rare KC Project, Scott Weir, Tara Zahner, and all the rest of our colleagues that couldn't be here in California tonight because they're still back in Kansas City, missing that they're not seeing the ocean today. But also really on behalf of the 250,000 individuals that are impacted by rare diseases in our hometown of Kansas City. When it comes to collaboration, I think we'll all agree, right? Somebody talked earlier about taking the village. It can't take, right? Maybe so it starts with a mom, because I would encourage all of you guys that might be here for the first time, it does take a mom or a parent or a caregiver. That spark, it comes from a lot of places. Sometimes it comes from a doctor or a researcher that wants to know what's the answer to that question. But each piece of that is what really will make the change as we move forward. So when we talk about collaboration, obviously the first person and organization I think we would all recognize is Nicole Boyce in Global Genes. I don't think there is an organization or an individual that represents the true spirit of collaboration any more than Global Genes does. They come together, they bring us together, they give us opportunities. It's not often in Kansas City that we get to hear about all of the technology that's happening outside of Kansas City that makes us think, how do we get that home? How do we do that? How do we connect with these people? And so again, I can't thank enough. In fact, I have a funny story really quick that I have to tell because I know many of you in the room will appreciate this. So 2.5 years ago, I decided as a mom, gosh, I recognized that a voice of Turner syndrome, we did have so many more connections, and depending on where we were going to go with that our small voice of Turner syndrome was not going to get us to the place where we needed to get there. And I'm all about getting there faster, quicker, because that's just how I am. And so I decided that I was going to, I've been following this great organization called Global Genes because they were fun and dynamic and they're just fun, right? Like all of their gene thing and stuff like that. So I decided I Googled them and I decided I'm going to send this Nicole Boyce. Don't know her, but I figure what the heck, right? Because that's what we do as parents, what the heck. And so I send her an email and basically say, hi, I'm a mom. My daughter has Turner syndrome. La, 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 la. By the way, we rock in Kansas City and you should come visit us, right? So I'm thinking, and my daughter's sitting over here, she's like, really, Mom? You just sent that email? And I'm like, yeah, what the heck? And so I'm not kidding you, in less than 30 minutes, I get this reply that says, well, if you rock that much, I'm coming to Kansas City. When should I come? And literally... And 2 months later, although I didn't get to bring a slide deck with me to this presentation, 2 months later, Nicole is sitting in Kansas City. We're standing in front of a blue fountain, because it, by the way, happened to be when the Royals were doing really well. And so we have a tendency, being the city of fountains, to turn all of our fountains blue. And she's like, did you do this for me? And I go, yep, we did. I told you we rock in Kansas City. So anyways, I do want to thank them. I also want to thank Lisa Mitchell with Faster Cures, who could not be with us today. Some of you know Lisa, right? She's the connector of all connectors. But she convinced me 2 years ago to basically go and meet with Scott Weir. I want to thank Scott Weir, Kimmanau, and the amazing team at the University of Kansas. They have been a huge advocate for us. They've jumped in and supported our efforts 100% in developing Rare KC. I want to thank Steve Leader, Joe Cernage, and Dr. Curran from Children's Mercy Hospital. They demonstrate what true patient engagement really look like. They brought us to the table. They let us have an equal voice in creating a different thing. I want to thank my dear friend from the Scott Hawley, Dr. Scott Hawley from the Stowers Institute, who inspires me on a daily basis and tells me if you're going to dream big, you might as well go big. Congressman Kevin Yoder and Dr. Sitta from the NIH for helping us bring a national spotlight to our needs of our rare disease community and the initiative we wanted to create in Kansas City. I want to thank my husband and my 2 sons for graciously supporting my efforts, my never-ending ideas, and tolerating the late night hours that come along with, as my son calls it, saving the world, because that's what you think you have to do, right, Mom? Most importantly, too, I want to thank our daughter, Katie, who lost her life for a rare disease at the age of 5 months. I'm like you. I know. And also our oldest daughter, Allie, for showing us how beautifully hard life can be living with a rare disease and inspiring us every day to make sure that the next family that will join in our journey has a little bit easier path. But most importantly, I want to thank the amazing moms, patients, caregivers, and individuals that are sitting not only in this room, but across the world that have come together to say that our loved ones, they deserve more. They will continue to fight and advocate for a voice that will be heard not only in Kansas City, but across the world, that we are here and we want more for our families and our loved ones. Kansas is commonly thought of as a flyover state when it comes to many things. We don't have oceans, we don't have mountains, but we have a tremendous collaborative spirit. There's a reason why we're called the Heartland, because we know what it means to stick up and be there for our neighbors, to think collaboratively, to think out of the box about how can we get there and get there faster. So on behalf of our entire Kansas City community, I would like to say that we're here, we will continue to come together, and that we have every intention of making us a fly-to state when it comes to rare disease. So thank you for recognizing our efforts and the amazing people that came behind the Rare KC project.
Beautiful. Thank you. Love you too.